You know, one of the hardest parts about combating MAGA every day is that all Donald Trump has to do is say something, put it out there on the internet, and his followers will believe it without fact checking it, without looking into it, without even stopping, pausing for a minute, and thinking it through. They just hear what he says, grab it, and they throw it. And the more they throw it, the farther it spreads until pretty soon they're believing it. Until pretty soon they're passing it on to their friends, and their friends are passing it to their friends, and their preachers are preaching it from the pulpit. And we see this all the time, and it's super frustrating, but it's even more frustrating now since Hurricane Helene has left so much devastation on the East Coast. You would think now might be the time for people to come together and not try to use this as a political moment or not try to use this as a photo op or make it all about me, me, me. But Donald Trump doesn't have that in him. He has to make it about himself. He has to get his photo op in. He has to get his political stunt in. And he has to get his misinformation thrown out as quick as he can in order to get ahead. And he's doing that off of the suffering of people on the East Coast. That's the kind of guy that he is. And the people that can't see through that are those kind of people that they would take an event like this and wouldn't even care. They would just spread misinformation anyway. And here's Trump saying it out loud. He knows all he has to say is that Joe Biden's not answering the phone. Joe Biden's ignoring the governors. That's all he's got to say. The followers will believe it. Take a look.
Having a hard time getting the president on the phone. I guess they're not being responsive. The federal government is not being responsive. But they're having a very hard time getting the president on the phone. He won't get on, and of course the vice president, she's out someplace campaigning, looking for money. So they have to be focused over here. It's too big. This is a really bad one. And the governor's doing a good job, but he's having a hard time getting the president on the phone. They're being very non-responsive.
Now, I can't count the times that I've saw MAGA share that and say, man, can you believe this? Can you believe Biden won't answer them? Can you believe Biden's just sitting up there and won't even help nobody, man? What kind of guy is that? Do they ever stop to think that maybe, just maybe, we could have receipts, especially considering we bring them every day? But here's Governor Kemp saying, yeah, I've already been on the phone with Biden, but we're going to show you Trump lie about it again. And then Kemp say, yeah, I've already talked to Joe Biden. Take a look.
Really with the governor, that governor needs to, he's been trying to get them, and I'm sure they're going to come through. But he's been calling the president, hasn't been able to get him. But
I just spoke. The president just called me yesterday afternoon. I missed him and I called him right back. And he just said, hey, what do you need? And I told him, you know, we got what we need. We'll work through the federal process. He offered that if there's other things we need, just to call him directly, which I appreciate that.
Now, for whatever reason, the mainstream media doesn't like to use the word lie. I've noticed that they rarely use that word, but I was so glad that President Biden called it for exactly what it is. It's a lie, folks, because he's lying. Take a look.
Donald Trump has accused both of you of ignoring the disaster.
He is lying. Let me get this straight. He's lying. And the governor told him he was lying. The governor told me he was lying. I've spoken to the governor, spent time with him, and he told me he's lying. I don't know why he does this. And the reason I get so angry about it, I don't care about what he says about me, but I care what he communicates to the people that are in need. He implies that we're not doing everything possible. We are. And you spoke to the governor. I assume you heard the Republican governor of Georgia talk about that he was on the phone with me more than once. So that's simply not true, and it's irresponsible.
I'm with Joe Biden on this one. I don't care what he says about Joe Biden. I don't care about what he says about those of us on the left. It's the fact that he puts out these stories, and they've admitted to creating stories in order to get the media talking about it and in order to get their base riled up. They've already admitted to this. I don't care what he says about us or what he says about Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. It's the fact that he would take a moment like this to spread lies out there just to further divide people at a time like this. That's the kind of person that he is. And I want to show you this clip here from Fox News because the only one on there that we ever really can relate to is Jessica Tarlov, because she's sitting there with these jackasses trying to talk sense every day. I don't know how she does it. I really don't. But here she brings the receipts to their faces. And this time they pretty much just sit there quiet. But as you're watching as you're watching Jessica just roast them and bring the receipts, pay attention to the headline that Fox has at the bottom of the screen. Take a look.
So Donald Trump and his supporters are running the same old tired playbook that they did with Maui and they did with East Palestine. So not only was Joe Biden on top of this, he signed the disaster declarations even before the storms hit to make sure that there would be no delay in goods and services. Donald Trump's social media posts contain blatant lies, like Governor Kemp can't reach the president. Governor Kemp gave a press conference yesterday where he said, I just spoke to the president. He has promised me every single thing that I need. McMaster from South Carolina, also a conservative, getting everything that he wants, and then Roy Cooper as well. And there's only one president that we are talking about who actually has denied relief for one of these states. In 2017, Roy Cooper asked after Hurricane Matthew for a lot of money, and he got 1% of his ask. They denied 99% of what he was asking for after that hurricane came. There are 3,300 FEMA personnel there, 5,500 National Guardsmen from 11 states, and search and rescue from 19 states. That doesn't reduce the devastation of this and how horrific it is, but to say that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are out to lunch during this, or they're sitting on a beach reclining there, they are clearly giving them what they need. They will be showing up when it is appropriate. And it's different for Donald Trump, who is not in office. He's just a guy trying to be president again to show up and throw some bounty at people versus someone who's actually the commander in chief and doesn't want to distract from what's going on. And as Dana said, Governor Cooper said, I will let you know when it is appropriate for you to come. And same goes for Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, all of it.
So did you notice what the headline at the bottom of the screen said? Biden-Harris hit for delayed hurricane response. That's not true. There was no delayed hurricane response, but that headline is all Fox News needed, and they know that. They know all they have to do is put that headline at the bottom of the screen, and that's what their listeners will see, and that's what their listeners will repeat to everyone around them and spread on social media. They'll sit there and they'll laugh along with Jesse Waters and his wisecracks. They'll think it's funny. And then when Jessica starts talking, they'll tune out because they've already been pre-programmed to tune out because, oh, you can't believe nothing she's saying. She's taking up for them. She's defending them. They never stop to think it through. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe, Donald Trump is lying. Maybe, just maybe, J.D. Vance is lying. Maybe, just maybe, Fox News put this headline up here to get us to look at the screen. But maybe if we looked into it just a little bit, we would realize that everything Jessica said there was true because Biden was already working with them before the storm even started. They were already preparing. And he has been answering the phone, and he has been saying to them, what do you need? I'll be there. And they're saying, we will let you know when to show up at an appropriate time. But Trump runs down there, and then people says, oh, Trump went down there to assess the situation. He went down there to check it out. He's not an expert on anything. The guy doesn't know jack shit. The only thing he knows is how to set up a stage op. That's it. Let's just go down here and let's set up some props and let's stand here and let me talk like I know what I'm talking about and let me spread a bunch of bullshit out into the world to people who I know will never question it because I got to get ahead in this race because my little boy JD is about to debate Tim Walz later tonight and oh my God, he's going to get his ass handed to him. So again, let's create a story here to distract and to divide people at their weakest point. To divide people when their homes have been ravaged, when their towns are underwater, when we're saying, you know what, to hell with politics, let's just help each other get back up out of this mess. And he has to further divide us with his bullshit. It is so frustrating day in and day out. But I keep doing it because somebody, me and you here on this channel, we have to be the voices of reason. And we have to keep pointing it out in hopes that there's one person sitting there on the fence going, you know what? I just really don't buy into Mama's bullshit. I just really don't buy into my crazy cousin Steve's bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like I don't believe that crazy forklift driver at work. There has to be those people. And there are because I get messages from them every day that says, dude, you keep me sane. I have to hear this rhetoric at work all day long. I have to hear this rhetoric at Sunday dinner. I have to hear this rhetoric from my mom and dad, and you keep me sane. Well, friends, that's what I'm here for. I'm just trying to sit back and react to the crazy world around me the best way I know how. But it is super frustrating and hard to not cuss a blue streak when you have somebody turn such a tragedy into politics because they're losing an election. And they're losing an election because their ideas are so ancient and so out of touch that the only way they can save the day is to create chaos, create stories just to get people talking about it, and muddy the water. That's all they have to offer. But fortunately, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have a lot more to offer, and fortunately, they're there, and they're helping, and they're answering the phone, and they're doing everything they can, and they're going to do everything that they can. And Trump can continue to spread these stories, but we can continue to debunk them and call them out. And when someone points this out, you can easily point out that, hey, what he said wasn't true. They may not believe you. I know a lot of you says, well, they're never going to believe us, Brando. I know. But wouldn't you much rather be on the right side of history knowing you wasn't the one that just stood there with your head down? You know, there has been times that I have spoke up in situations where other people was looking at the floor. And I'm not trying to belittle them for looking at the floor or make them feel bad for looking at the floor. But there's been times that I've called out people for their BS and everybody kind of looking at the floor and then later would whisper in my ear, thanks. Thanks for that. Well, okay. I understand that not everybody can, but I'm going to sit here and call it out as long as I have a platform to do so. Because to politicize a moment like this, I mean, I'm not stunned. I'm not shocked, but it's pretty low even for them. But folks, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in here every day, supporting what it is that I do. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to check out our memberships here on YouTube. We do a lot of cool stuff on there, and check out the Patreon in the description of this video. We've been playing a lot of music over there and having a lot of fun with it. So everybody, let's just keep moving forward. I know I keep saying that. I've almost closed every video with that, but yeah, today's October 1st, so we're a month away, and so we just got to keep our eye on the ball, stay focused. We'll get over the finish line. They may try to create stories, they may try to create chaos, but we just got to keep bringing the receipts.